This is another one. It was only about 20 minutes ago. I did another live stream, but we've moved location to La Chapelle-en-Vercors, another location where there is actually a signal. So this is the court of the fusillés, or the shot. And while I'm doing a video to you, there's people there playing pétanque, there's people there in a swimming pool just around the corner, people there having a beer there. It's lovely, really, talking about something terrible in an environment where life goes on, because life does go on. It was 79 years ago, but these horrible, tragic events, although they're remembered, life goes on. But anyway, Mag's going to hand me the camera, and I'm going to carry on taking you around this court. So, you can see here the Cour des Fusillés. So this is a historical monument, and Chapelle-en-Vercors was on one of the roads into the plateau. So if you watch the earlier video from the cemetery, and I was talking about the how the battle unfolded, this is kind of on that road in. And then I'll just show you the monuments. I'll kind of translate a little bit. So from the 21st of July, German soldiers began counterattacks against the maquisards here, the resistance here. And it's talking about the population being divided into two groups, the young and the women, and then the young men who might have been resistance, and older people, infirm children, etc., etc. And on the night of the 25th of July, German soldiers began to destroy and burn about 100 houses in this village, and they shot 16 young men in the court of the Albert farm, which is kind of where we are. They chose the young men because they thought they were the ones that were the more likely to be maquisards. And you can see here the numbers of, this is talking about around this area of Vercors, of 573 destroyed buildings. 459 were situated in the Vercors itself, because the battle kind of extended slightly outside of the actual region. And afterwards it was declared a commune sinistre, so a community that had been, it's hard to translate, but kind of a horrible, sinister incident had happened. And in 1945 they began to rebuild the area here. And there I was reading the French translation, and there it all is in English for me, which is, there you go, and Italian and German, which is nice to see. So I'm going to just walk you around a little bit here. And it's nicely done for such a tragic event. These are the young people, just on a panel of glass. In this environment, on the 20th of July 1944, 16 men from La Chapelle-en-Vercors were murdered, massacred by the Nazis, and their names there. So the youngest 17, 18, and the oldest was 38. So that's the age they thought would be more likely to be in the resistance. I'll take you over and show you. This is the original plaque. This was put up, I watched the video in the museum. This was put up almost days after the actual event. This is weeks after tragedy. This was already up. The shadow is harsh there, like filming in August in France. Harsh lighting. The flag's beautiful though. So here was this massacre of 16 people. They were summarily shot, pushed up against the wall and shot. But a beautiful courtyard, despite the tragedy of what happened here. Beautiful little courtyard, really well remembered by the locals. And it's going to be a very short one, shorter than the video I did in the cemetery. Partly because my camera's running out of charge, my stabilizer's running out of charge. This is the kind of photo I really think of when I think of the Vercors. That's the mountain kind of pass. If you've seen that series, I keep talking about the series Wish Me Luck in the 80s, you see a road just like that. And that's why the Germans, the resistance thought the Germans would only approach this plateau via that kind of road. And although they had those roads defended, the Germans, it turned out, were mostly, their attacks down these roads were kind of a feint. They were going to, mountain troops were going to come over the mountains themselves. And these are other photos here. If my stream cuts out at any time, because my phone is really, really warm as well, sitting on the stabilizer. It's about 26, 27 degrees here, but I'll keep going for as long as I can. So these are areas pre-war and post-war, after destruction. Reminiscent in some ways of Oradour-sur-Glane, which isn't that far away. Limoges is a couple of hours drive from here, I'm going to guess. And these are well, there's one of the, I guess that's the following winter. You see the buildings there, all the roofs gone. Well, they've got these holes, I guess, representing kind of the old and new. I guess that's reconstruction there with a crane. So these are people sitting in the park playing pétanque. Post office here. I'll take you around the side here. So here that is explaining the battle. On the 21st of July, 600 Germans, some by gliders onto the plateau of Vassieux, progressed towards the Chapelle and Vercors via 2 roads to the town, village. And it talks about the battle that took place here, and eventually 16 young men, as we've already talked about, were killed. And when I did the film from the cemetery in Clermont-Ferrand a few days ago, and it said recueillir there about that, and it's hard to translate because it kind of means remember, but it's remember in kind of a religious sense, like say a prayer for them. It doesn't translate directly into English. Recueillir might mean kind of think of them, but think of them in a kind of a spiritual way. You know, next time you're in a church, next time you think of those who lost their life, not just remember. There's a spiritual aspect to it there. Recueillir. Someone's bound to come up with a really good translation for it in the sidebar. Mag couldn't come up with a particularly good one. Hi everybody who's watching, and hope these little mini streams are filling the gap while we can't actually do proper streams. And there's actually a little video here, which I can't take the camera into. They do a little video about the events, which I might go and see in a minute. But anyway, this is the square, the Cour des Fusiliers. Just a little while we're here, why don't I just show you a little bit of the village, then I'll stop the stream. So there's the people playing pétanque. How French is that, eh? Out in the playing in the afternoon. And then now you've got an active, thriving little community, people playing another game there playing. And you've got a swimming pool over there. But I'll end this stream now. I might do another one, but it won't be today, I don't think, because my battery's running out of charge. Maybe later on, maybe tomorrow, we'll see. Anyway, this is one of Woody's WW2TV Walkabouts. I hope you've enjoyed this little story here. And I recommend, I was in the museum earlier, which I couldn't film at because there was no signal. Well, I could film at, but I couldn't live stream from there. I spoke to the guy there, and he said the Paddy Ashdown book is good without being brilliant. He did cite his sources, but I mean, Paddy Ashdown was a politician, wasn't he, rather than a historian. But there were no other books in the museum, no books at all in English. Everything was in French. There's the Paddy Ashdown book, and then there's the Osprey book by Peter Lieb. But obviously, an event like this in this square, I think it gets like one paragraph in a whatever it was, 80-page Osprey book. But I suggest you either get the Paddy Ashdown book or search elsewhere. But I'm going to end now. This is Paul Woodadge for WW2TV saying I will see you all on another occasion. Thanks everybody for watching. Bye.